Hey, this is Dr. Nathan Crockett. Really good to be with you today, and I'm excited to make this video. It's actually really hard to believe that more than 8 years ago when we started Crockett Doodles, just to try to be the kind of breeder that we had hoped to find, I would have probably never guessed that we would be where we are now with more than 150 partner homes, our website often getting 3 million or more page views a month. One month we had almost 1 million unique visitors to our website, kind of blew us away. Tens of thousands of social media fans, and so we are so thankful for the many families who've had a great experience getting pups from us through the years. And the team just talked to me and said, hey, why don't you give everyone an update of where we are? A couple months ago I wrote an article about the pandemic and how that's affected us, and particularly the wait time. And I read that article the other day, and it took me almost 16 minutes to read it. So the team said not everyone is actually reading the article. So I've got my little friend Marlin here, the mini golden doodle, and just sitting down in front of my iPhone and gonna record. I have a few notes jotted down, but for the most part just kind of want to share my heart with you and try to give you an update of exactly where we are. So one of the things that's been really amazing to us even during this time of pandemic is the opportunity to continue to partner with Make-A-Wish Foundation. And because of the pandemic, Disney World and a lot of places like that have been closed, and so people who normally would have opted for a trip have instead, in many cases, wanted a puppy. So you've maybe seen the social media post on Facebook and so on, and really, as we hear about these families and some of the children that we get to just play a tiny part in their lives, it's such an incredible privilege. I remember probably 4 years after we started Crockett Doodles, we had a team meeting and we were at a restaurant, and one of our team members told us about a family in Texas and their son, and they'd been on the wait list and they wanted to wait initially till the summer, and they were asking if there was any way that they could get moved up a little bit on the wait list. And their son was the exact same age as my oldest son. And they said the reason that they wanted to get moved up is he'd just been diagnosed with a life-threatening illness. And is there any way they could buy their puppy sooner? We normally don't ever bump people up on the wait list. And I remember us deciding as a team that no, we were not going to let them buy their puppy sooner, but we were going to give it to them sooner. And the team member who'd been working with them, we flew her and her husband out to meet them in Texas, and just a wonderful family. And we've had the privilege of doing several things like that through the years. And it's been really just a remarkable privilege. For most everyone, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed with businesses, with families. A lot of you may be getting used to sheltering in place, particularly depending on what state you're in. And it certainly brought some changes for us at Crockett Doodles. Obviously, we didn't magically have more puppies being born, but we had what already had been a very high demand just increased exponentially. And I think there are three primary reasons, as far as I can tell, why the pandemic had this huge increase in the desire for puppies. And the first is just that there were a lot of people who were at home and were lonely. Maybe some of you there may be single, or maybe a young couple who didn't have kids yet, or someone who never had a dog before, and realized that puppy, that pandemic puppy, would be a huge blessing to them. And so I think that was one of the reasons why there was just really an increased demand, is people that were lonely. Secondly, I think there were people that realized that for the first time, they may continually, for the foreseeable future, be able to work from home. IT people, others, that their jobs were saying, hey, for the foreseeable future, we're going to allow a lot of people to work from home. And that was maybe their barrier to entry. They weren't getting a puppy because they didn't want it to be home all day. Now they realized, wow, we're able to work from home. Let's get a puppy. And thirdly, unfortunately, the statistics say that there are about 1 million or a little over 1 million pups that come into the United States every year illegally, many of those coming up from Mexico and the western states, from huge puppy mills in Mexico, others coming from China, Indonesia, Vietnam. And those puppies come across the border illegally every year. The US has tried to stop this. We have the same issue going on in the UK and Europe. But when the borders closed, that put a stop to all those illegal puppies coming in. So you had this increase in demand, people that were lonely, people that were going to be working from home, wanting a puppy, and then a huge decrease in supply because a lot of these pups that were normally going to various types of rescues that were coming in illegally were stopped. And so you had this huge spike. And for most breeders that don't have a deposit list, that just take their puppy, pop it on the internet somewhere and sell it, they realize this incredible demand. And so they doubled, tripled, or in many cases quadrupled their pricing. And so we had been used to being moderately priced among reputable breeders, and all of a sudden we were trying to hold our pricing as steady as possible, and all of a sudden we were lower priced than well-known puppy mills or backyard breeders or other people like that, and it put us in an interesting situation that where we had high demand before, we had just actually hundreds of applications a day coming in, and just almost this craze, like there was for a while with toilet paper, everyone trying to get toilet paper, hand sanitizer. It was almost like that with puppies. And so we had to try to think about how are we going to handle this. And I wrote an article describing that in quite a bit of detail. I probably tend to be overly detailed. When I wrote my dissertation, I got permission to write a double-length dissertation for my committee and wrote a 500-page PhD dissertation in the area of theology where my doctorate is in. So I like research, I like writing a lot, and the team members have told me that 16-minute article maybe is a little bit much, but if you want to know all the details about the pandemic and our guardian homes and how it all played out, please take the time to read that article, crockettdoodles.com/wait, or you can get to it through the menu options as well. So I'm going to try to give you a little bit of a higher level overview of that, and realize that obviously we didn't want our wait time to grow too much, so we started being really picky about the applications that we would accept. We normally had one team member that would review those applications, sometimes run them by me, tell people yes, no, or wait. But with the increased applications, we hired 3 additional team members just to read through applications. And again, trying to be really picky about who we accepted and get just the right kind of families. We realized if we had tripled or quadrupled our pricing, then some people on our list would want a refund and say, you've priced out for me, and that would have kept our list a little bit shorter, but we didn't want to do that. We didn't feel right doing that. We have had some moderate price increases to help our guardian homes because they get a big percentage of the profit, and they obviously realized if they were trying to sell on their own during these times, pricing went up, and also supplies went up. Several, food went up, just lots of different things went up during the pandemic as it became more difficult to get supplies, and veterinary costs went up and things like that. So we have had a moderate price increase, but nothing like most of our competitors, certainly not doubling or tripling or quadrupling our price. And because of that, we have seen the wait time expand. In the past, people like to ask, how long do you have to wait for a puppy? And we've often said, historically, if you look at historic averages, it's been a 2 to 4 month wait on average before you get your first announcement. Now you have to realize that an average is an average. That means some people get the first announcement in a month, and some people might wait 5 months. That's the nature of an average. Also, sometimes I'll see someone on Facebook and say, I've been waiting 8 months, and I'll email the team and say, how's this person been waiting 8 months? And they'll say, well, they got their first announcement after 2 months, but they've had 18 different litter announcements now, and they've turned them all down because they're being really picky about the exact pup that they want. And so, they have been waiting for months and months and months because they keep turning down options that, well, we want white on all 4 paws, and it has to be a female that's not going to weigh more than 12 pounds and this kind of thing. Usually the pickier you are, the longer it will take to get a puppy, and the more flexible you are with male, female, being willing to have different doodle breeds, the more flexible you are, usually the less time you end up waiting. Now, we did recently increase where instead of choosing your 3 favorite options, you could actually choose 5 different options to help some people that's maybe the 3 options that they chose, they were kind of stuck on those or whatever. We as a team have been monitoring really ever since the pandemic started. Even before that, we try to monitor and say how many people, because right away we start trying to tell people with this pandemic, we think it could be longer than 4 months. And again, in that article, I explained why I thought with some breeds it could be considerably longer. We have weekly team meetings with the leadership team. Now we do those on Zoom. But in our weekly team meetings, Robin, our communications director, always gives us an update on how many people have been waiting past 4 months. And early on in the pandemic, it was very, very small, less than 0.5% of those on our deposit list. By 2 weeks ago, it got to where it was almost 2% of people on our deposit list had been waiting more than 4 months. which would be a little bit longer than the historic wait time, which is typically 2 to 4 months. We would like to under-promise and over-deliver. We don't want to get people's hopes up. But this past Monday when we had our meeting, the number had jumped considerably higher than 2%. And so we right away wanted to address that, and I thought we need to let people know. We have let them know in the article that it's probably going to be a lot longer than 4 months, but not everyone's reading that article. My hope is that you'll be listening to this video. Now, initially, I was hoping to make this less than 5 minutes. It's probably going to go longer than that, and I apologize, but hopefully you're more likely to watch a video. So, in particular, I talked to the matching team, to Stephanie and her team, and I said, what breeds that we do you think are going to be longer than 4 months? And they looked at the number of people who are on the deposit list for certain breeds and the number of puppies that we see coming in the foreseeable future. Again, we're really flexible with our guardian homes. That a number of guardian homes have said with the pandemic they really don't want people coming in their home and so on, so they've chosen not to breed. And again, this is their dog, their pet. We're not going to force them to do anything. In fact, because our guardian homes are friends, we haven't even done signed contracts with them. We have some that just do one litter and they say, thanks for buying us the dog, and we love that litter, but that was a lot of work, and we're not going to do this again, and we understand that. But we have had a number of new guardian homes that we started even 3 years ago, 4 years ago, so we have a large number of puppies that we are matching to homes. But with that growing deposit list, we wanted to let you know what we're doing about that. And the team said in particular, they looked at every different breed that we do, and there were more than 10 of them that they said, right now, these look fine. These still look like they're in that 2 to 4 month window, maybe 5 months. But the 3 breeds that have been the most popular for us for the past couple of years, actually, probably, have been Bernie Doodles, which would be standard and mini, Cavapoos, particularly mini Cavapoos, and Golden Doodles, and probably especially mini Golden Doodles. And they said those 3 right now, if you're on the deposit list for that, it looks like it's going to be more than 4 months. At one point, they were going to send out an email, and their best guess was that the Bernie Doodles and the Cavapoos, on average, were going to be 4 to 8 months, and the mini Golden Doodles were going to be 4 to 7 months. I almost hesitate to even say that, because I really don't want to give a number, because we don't have a crystal ball, we can't see the future. If a vaccine comes out, everyone goes back to work, maybe a lot of people want their deposit refunded, and we refund a deposit anytime for any reason. We've taken several specific steps to try to decrease the wait time. Anyone who we felt like was at all, wondering, is this the right thing to do? We said, please, if you have any question, go ahead and get your deposit refunded. We're happy to do that. We have more people than we can handle. If you have the slightest 1% hesitation, go ahead and we're happy to refund your deposit. Also, I've been talking to the team. In the past, we'd have people say, I don't know about this, I want my deposit refunded, I'm going to go with this other breeder, and then they would find out something about them and they'd say, oh, we want to get back in line. And I'm telling our team, let's not let people back in line, and really, even if someone wants their deposit back, there's probably no reason for them to get back on the list. If they're kind of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We have so many families that are really waiting and really wanting a pup. So that's something that I think will help cut the wait time down, and also the increased number of guardian homes. Even today, talking to someone with some very, very expensive Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, but we're looking to get several of those females to get them in homes. I've got several homes here in Greenville that would love to have another Cavalier. Yesterday, worked with some different breeders from some beautiful champion bloodline Bernese mountain dogs. We're hoping to get 9 of those in 5 different homes or so. So we are definitely working, and have been for the past several years, to increase our number of guardian homes. That will help some. We want to always focus on quality more than quantity. But as we even spread to different regions, we have so many homes here in the Greenville area in the southeast, but we really have many, many different states now. You can look at locations and see that. So as we really encourage people who have any questions at all, please take your deposit back. That's fine. Those that do get their deposit back, not letting them jump back in line. Another thing I've talked to the team about is, other than Make-A-Wish or families with some really significant need for maybe an injured war veteran or something like that we help out, other than that, not letting anybody jump in line. In the past, sometimes if someone got their 2nd or 3rd pup from us, many of our families are repeat customers. 8 years ago they got a pup and they want another one, or Some families, they have 5, 6, or 7 pups between extended family from Crockett Doodles. And in the past, sometimes we've shortcutted them, but I've said during this time when so many people are waiting, let's not give anyone a shortcut. We do have a number of high-profile clients with professional sports players or movie stars, or we've had a number of people in the Broadway world, and even some government officials, and sometimes they sort of expect to get shortlisted. And I talked to the team. I don't care if this is your favorite movie star. We have some team members when they find out someone who placed an application, they say, I want to deal with that person, or can I fly that pup out to that YouTube star or whoever. And I remember a time that I had 3 pups, mini golden doodles we raised in our living room. It was just a litter of 3. And it just so happened that what came to the top of the list that time was a governor of a state near us, and a U.S. congressman, and then there was a realtor as well. And so those 3 people, they were great families, but we didn't fast track them. We try not to treat them any different than we would have treated anyone else. And we try not to be political about it. There was a Democrat governor and a Republican congressman that got 2 of those pups from that litter. I remember there's a red pup, an apricot pup, and a cream pup, and they all seem to really love their pups. But we really want to focus on not fast tracking anybody, just to try to be perfectly fair in how we do this, and basically no shortcuts. And one thing that I did want to mention, because one of my team members had talked about this, they said some people don't like the fact that when we do the refund, we refund your $300 deposit, we have an 8% processing fee. Why do we do that? Well, when you place a deposit, most of you do that through PayPal, and they charge us a 2.9% fee, so $300 deposit, we actually get $291 of that. When we started looking at the cost, oftentimes someone would have emailed back and forth with our team 30, 40, 50 times, and then they would get a deposit refund. Oftentimes too, they maybe want a check, or they used a different email address for PayPal, so it takes someone 25 minutes to try to figure out which PayPal address they used, or we're getting a stamp, writing a check. And so that 8% processing fee, we realize that if we're just clicking refund on PayPal, that in of itself is not 8%, but what we're paying our team to work with you over that period of time averages out to a lot more than 8%. In fact, we had a higher than number of deposit refunds over the past 2 weeks, and I totaled that up and multiplied that times the 8% we got back from that, and I looked at that compared to our administrative payroll. So not what we pay our guardian homes, our transition homes, but just the administrative team that answers emails, hundreds of emails a day, and so on. And what we got back from the 8% that we kept back from the refunds was less than 2%. I think it's 1.74% of our biweekly payroll just for the administrative core team. So we're not trying to rip you off with that 8%. And same thing, I guess someone said, well, you've kept my deposit for 3 months and you're just trying to earn interest on it. And I almost laughed when a team member said that, because our business checking account actually has 0% interest. And even if we moved it to a high interest savings account, those of you that are familiar with banking right now, on average, the high interest savings account are getting about 0.6% interest. So even if we kept your deposit for a year, it would be less than $2. It'd be right around $1.75 probably. So again, if you want your deposit back, to put it in an interest account and to try to get your $1.75 for holding it for a year, you're happy to do that. We're happy for you to do that. But our goal is not just to pile up deposits. Our goal is to get the right people and have you ready for when the right pup is ready for you. And we've tried to work proactively, but particularly if you're waiting for a Bernie Doodle, a Cavapoo, or a mini golden doodle, we wanted to let you know that very well could be longer than 4 months. I hate to say a number, and I really would ask you not to email our team and ask for a number. There's this saying in business that the customer is always right. And my wife and I, even before Crockett Doodles, we own quite a bit of real estate. We enjoy that. I have a couple other companies, and chairman of the board of a nonprofit, and I really enjoy ministry and business as well. And I understand that saying that the customer is always right. However, if you run a small business and so on, you know that there are wonderful customers, and 99% of our customers are amazing. I mean, I could tell you story after story of the kindest things and the nicest gestures. I mean, we've had people on our deposit list end up getting a puppy from someone else and say, go ahead and keep my deposit. You guys sent me announcements. I mean, things that kind of blow us away, right? So we've worked with incredible people, and yet you get some cantankerous ones And we've seen this increase even in the past several weeks, I think, with just all that's going on in our nation. I was talking to a team member a couple days ago, and someone had just really cussed them out on the phone, or something they had not done, or Crockett Doodles hadn't really done. This person was just upset about something else with their local vet, and our team member got an earful. One of my team members forwarded me something of a guy who seemed to use every cuss word in the book because he couldn't figure out how to fill out the application for a puppy, and just that we were horrible, wicked people, and and I think with all everything going on in the political world and various riots and so on, people just need to take a deep breath and to give others the benefit of the doubt. Our team tries to be really kind and so on in the way that we handle customers. But that's saying that the customer's always right. I think as a business owner, I have to balance that with protecting my team, which the Lord has assembled an incredible team at Crockett Doodles. I love working with these people. Their heart and soul is in this. They love puppies, they love people, and they have done a remarkable job. And if I see them getting attacked or someone belittling them or just an unreasonable amount, I was talking to someone who answers a lot of the initial emails and asked her, how many of the emails is the answer somewhere on the website? And I think she said 85 to 90%. So again, I understand you're not wanting to read through the whole website, but oftentimes even before you shoot off that email, if you look at the frequently asked questions, the FAQ section of the website, if you look at a bunch of the other articles that we've written, I'm trying to write a new article or two every week or so, just to give you more information. We want you to be well informed, even if you don't get a doodle from us, even if a doodle's not right for you. So, I think sometimes there's this saying that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? And so there are some of our families, it's just a handful. It's like pastors often say that in churches, 10% of the people create 90% of the work, right? And I think we experience that to some degree at Crockett Doodles. I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just saying there are people that nothing you do can be good enough, and they want more pictures, they want more of this, and just question, and they demand a phone call. And really, there's that saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and I think they think if they keep pushing, then someone will bump them up in line. And I really caution our team and say, don't do that. Don't do that. I've learned that as a university professor. Sometimes a student will say, well, can I miss this class period and still do okay on the test or whatever? And the longer I teach, the more I get where I don't bend over backwards for students. Now, maybe a student is sick or something, that's fine. But if they deliberately miss class, that oftentimes they don't get to retake a quiz. It might be one of their 2 dropped quizzes for the semester. But I tell the students, I say, you're an adult, you want to be treated like an adult, you can make an adult decision to skip class, and I'm an adult, I can make an adult decision to give you a 0 on that quiz. And I probably sound mean, but I think I'm a pretty nice guy and a nice teacher, and I love my students, but I want them to learn that there are consequences to skipping class. I tell them, I said, there's this remarkable thing at university. You usually do better in a class that you actually attend. That actually helps, right? And so for people that just think, well, if I keep badgering the team, maybe they'll push me up in line. And maybe, on your wheelbarrow or whatever, if there's a constantly squeaky wheel, maybe the squeaky wheel gets the grease, or maybe the squeaky wheel gets replaced. And you just decide, that wheel is squeaking so much, I'm going to put a new wheel in there. And I really am giving my team the authority to say, if a person just keeps badgering them or wants this and wants that and wants that, just to say, you know what, we don't think you're a good fit. We've got a whole lot of other people waiting in line. We have applications that we're denying because we don't have enough spots. And you know what, you're just not a good fit. Here's your refund. And we're not doing that to be mean, and I'm giving you a heads up on that, because we're not trying to say that you're a bad person. Maybe you're just overly analytical. Maybe you have significant trust issues, and you can read 400 positive reviews, and then you read one negative one, and you think that must describe the company. So anyways, we are trying to take very specific steps to if someone's a squeaky wheel, just to be kind and to give it a little bit of grease. But if it continues, just to say, here's your deposit back. Please look elsewhere. We wish you all the best. And for those of you that have just been so patiently waiting, we just wanted to give you, we hope that it's worth the wait. I think you could talk to, for the longest time I've said hundreds of customers. I was thinking the other day, I'm sure over the past 8 years, we're now up to more than 2,000 very satisfied customers. So I think we could say thousands of previous customers have said it was so worth the wait. And we're not perfect. We make mistakes. We try to handle them the right way. and we want to be better. We like input, so we've started doing these surveys for every pup that goes home. So this has gone a lot longer than it probably should have, but I hope that it's worth the wait, and we just wanted to give you a heads up that historically it has been a 2 to 4 month wait time. We've tried to be very clear from the beginning of the pandemic that we expect it could push beyond that, and right now, particularly for Bernedoodles, Cavapoos, and mini golden doodles, it could be longer. You may want to extend, it probably will be longer for those breeds. If you wanted a black and white Bernedoodle, consider a Sheepadoodle. The wait list isn't quite as long there. Maybe a mini golden doodle, consider a mini Labradoodle of the same color, or a Cavapoo, think about a Cockapoo. So there are other options to try to decrease your wait time, but we wanted to be just really upfront with you and thank you for being the world's best fans. I mean, really, I think virtually every day I get multiple text messages and emails of happy people that got a pup 8 years ago, 2 years ago, last week, and all of these pictures. I usually do most of the Facebook posts, and it's usually just pictures that someone texted me or pictures I take of my kids with the puppies. I have 5 kids, age 9 to 2, and they love puppies, and I'm here at my house right now. And so again, sorry for taking so long, but I wanted to just put my iPhone up and talk to you. Just, I'm not really looking at you, but just to let you know, give you an update with where we are, and to be really realistic about we don't want to be mean, but we want to cater to the 99% of our people who love Crockett Doodles, who are on the wait list. And if there's some people that are just getting a little bit cantankerous, or they're cussing out the team members or whatever, I wanted to let you know that I'm telling the team members, as much as I value the customer, and I understand that statement, the customer is always right, but that isn't actually always true. Sometimes the customer isn't right, and I value my team, and I want to protect them and their family time, and I want them to be able to continue to be really effective with the many, many people who are on board and who are excited. And so I'm giving them the prerogative. If there's an overly squeaky wheel, they might just issue a refund, and I'm going to stand behind that, right? So again, not trying to be mean, just trying to give you a heads up. Here's where we are, here's where we're headed. We're excited to see what the future holds, and stay safe. And thanks for taking the time to listen to this really long message. Thank you.